YouTube, how's it going? And today we're doing something a little different. Today we're gonna go over and break down every single thing that I do to warm up and the things that I do to prepare myself to get better, to play Apex 8 hours a day, every single day on stream. I do this literally every day before I go live, no matter what. Before I play in a tournament, before I play ranked, or even before I play pubs, because we all know pubs are hard. Pubs is the hardest. And before we get into the actual aim training and all the routines, for a second, I do want to go over gear a little bit. Now, gear won't make you the best aimer. It doesn't make or break your aiming and your play style, but it is something to consider. You want to be as comfortable as possible in your element and feeling very, very good with the gear that you have. The first thing that has literally been a game changer for me is this right here. This is a SkyPad arm sleeve. So I live personally in a very humid area. And the humidity makes, your arm get all sweaty, sticky, and gross. Having no friction between your skin, or between my skin and the pad, makes a huge difference. Speaking of mouse pads, I'm currently using the Lethal Gaming Gear Venus Pro. If you guys didn't know, a while back I did a video on the original Venus, and they upgraded it and made it 10 times better, which I didn't know was possible with the Venus Pro. And on top of that pad, I'm using my favorite mouse and my favorite mouse shape, probably of all time, out of all the mice, the many mice that I've used, is the Pulsar X2. Everything that I think about aim training and getting warmed up is about being comfortable. All right, so what we're gonna do now is hop into AimLab. If you guys don't know AimLab, it is a completely free program on Steam that you guys can try out. If you've never aim trained before, I think this is a really good start. The first one that I like to go into is called a Grid Shot 3x3 and is made by Who is Aqua. If you guys don't know Aqua, he's a great aim coach and somebody who's really, really good at this kind of stuff. You guys probably know about Grid Shot Ultimate. It's probably one of the most famous aim training scenarios in all of aim training. So they're a little bit bigger balls than the normal ones that are in Grid Shot. And in this situation and in these scenarios, there's only 3 on the screen at a time. This is a click timing or speed exercise. When it comes to these, the reason I always do this first, it's not to get a high score. It's not to be super accurate. It's not to run up the leaderboard. It's to calibrate my coordination between my hand, my eyes, and my brain. And while I'm playing this, I'm not thinking about breaking any records. I'm not thinking about being really fast. I'm just trying to get my mouse moving. This is the first time I've hopped on today. I literally haven't touched my mouse. I just think about where I'm putting my hand on my mouse. That's the most comfortable. That's my grip style and what I'm doing to move around the mouse pad, right? Next, we're gonna do my absolute favorite scenario on AimLab. It's called Switch Track Ultimate. And the best part about Switch Track Ultimate is that it's about target switching and it's about tracking, all in the same thing. In Apex Legends, those are the 2 most important things. If you're in a 1v2, 1v3 scenario, you guys know the TTK in Apex is very long, everything from white all the way up to red shields, which is like 250 health. You have to have good tracking and have good control on one specific object. And then you need to be able to change targets really fast. You just want to get in the groove, you know what I'm saying? You just want to get in the groove and start feeling good. Obviously, I'm not playing my best right now while talking to you guys, but I'm not really concerned about that. I really just want to show you what I do. And I'll play this scenario about 3 or 4 times before I move on. All right, and last but not least, we have another really good one called Circle Track Ultimate. Now, this one, I'll admit, it's not as challenging, but it's a very good first thing to start tracking before you really get locked in and warm up. Circle Track is so good at warming up that motion of tracking, especially horizontal on a horizontal plane, left to right? You want to get very, very comfortable. Obviously in Apex, there's a lot of vertical tracking, diagonal stuff all over the place, but the most basic, when you're in a 1v1 situation, it's a lot of strafes left and right, or people like, if you're catching people on a cross in the open, you want to be able to one clip them while they're in that open. This is the perfect scenario to work on just that. You have targets from all different sizes that do have a health bar, and they're not, some of them are a little fast, but they're ultimately pretty slow, pretty easy to track and stay on. Obviously, I'm not super focused on that right now while I'm talking to you guys, but you obviously can get a gist of what's going on. It gives you a good sense of pace of those long horizontal strafes that you have to get your mouse moving with. All right, that'll do for the aim lab portion. Then usually I move on to kovaaks after that. Yes, I know these are both aim trainers, and I know that aim lab has an extensive library of things that you can go on and on and on with. It's just something I like to do to switch it up for myself, to have a little variety in my aim training. Now that we're in kovaaks, I like to do something a little different. Instead of going from one scenario to another, I like to play around in their playlists. One of the main playlists that are really, really good for Apex Apex. Apex Krillix. If you guys don't know who Krillix Bloom is, one of the best aimers, one of the best gamers in all of the world playing Apex Legends, and he does have a playlist. It's a very short, very easy playlist, but today we're only going to talk about Ascended Tracking 90 Small, Ascended Tracking 90 Invincible Fixed, and Close LS Easy Dodge. So Ascended Tracking 90 Small. So this obviously has you going not only horizontally tracking the balls or tracking the targets, but also vertically switching targets. And then the next one, Ascended Tracking 90 Invincible Fixed. This is one of the best scenarios for 1v1 situation. It's an invincible target. You have to just keep your crosshair tracking and keep your crosshair on the target as long as possible. This one's only 30 seconds. So you want to be as consistent as possible. It's really important that you're not focusing on your crosshair, but rather focusing specifically on the target. And there we go. I just dropped a new PR on it. It's literally one of the most focused, and it's only 30 seconds, but one of the most focused, detailed scenarios that you can do in kovaaks. And last but not least, Close LS Easy Dodge. It's kind of a combination of Ascended Tracking 90 Small and Extended Tracking Invincible Fixed. It's a one target that's moving erratically, but it's a little more life-size, almost like you're in a real 1v1. And they're not invincible, so they eventually do end and restart. But again, it's really important that you focus on the target itself, not your crosshair. You want to stay as relaxed as possible. That is it for the Krillix playlist. The next playlist will be linked down below that you will have to download. It is from an incredible aimer. Her name is Viscose. She is absolutely amazing at what she does. So make sure to check out her YouTube channel and her Twitter. She probably has the best target switching I've ever seen. So she made a playlist for kovaaks that's literally called Viscose Recommended Switching Scenarios. Pat target switching easy. This scenario is about speed and being accurate. I know the bodies do take damage, but you want to focus on the head and changing targets as fast as you can and as accurately as you can. My biggest problem with this is the patience of making sure you're finishing one target before switching to another. So make sure you're really focused, locked in, and you're being as accurate and as patient as possible with each target before hurry up and switching to the next target. Next is Tile Frenzy Flick 180. So as you can see, it's all about being accurate with your flicks, but being fast. That one's really about speed. And last but not least, Vox TS Voltaic Jumbo. This is another target switching scenario that I think really helps you dial in tracking one object and switching to another really fast. And it's a little bit easier. There's a lot more within this playlist that's a little bit harder that do the kind of similar things, but this one I think is really good for a warm-up in particular. So all these scenarios that we've gone over are all about mouse control, getting dialed in, and making sure that you're super warmed up and ready before you even touch Apex. Listen to what I'm telling you. Don't launch Apex yet. Do not launch Apex until you warm up with these things. That is my #1 advice. Now, that was the end of the aim trainers. Now, we can launch the game. What the first things that I always do is I just grab a gold bag so I can have as much ammo as possible. I always want to go to the weapons that I'm either struggling with, something I want to work on in particular to get better with, or something that I know has difficult recoil. What you want to do is with no attachments, nothing on them whatsoever, no attachments, just a bunch of ammo. Stand here at probably where this cross is at, or like a good medium distance from the dummies, and just try your best to stay on the head no matter what without moving. So just pull your mouse straight down without moving your character whatsoever. And try to stay on their head as long as possible. So after that, what I do is I always get gold mags. If I get a gold mag,
Void running.
Because I want the most amount of bullets without having to reload as much as possible. So I start just moving around. Obviously, we know Apex is a big movement game. I start to just move my character around, get really comfortable with my height and my character. And then I start strafe shooting every dummy. Every single dummy from any direction at any point. I just want to strafe shoot every single dummy. Move around and shoot every dummy. So as you can tell, I'm keeping my character moving the entire time. That builds two things. One, that allows you to keep your mouse centered even when you're moving your body. And two, you don't want to get in the habit of in-game standing still while shooting. We know in aim trainers, you're not, in most scenarios in aim trainers, you're not moving your character around. It's only your mouse, right? So you are developing great mouse control. But in Apex, you do not ever want to stand still while you're shooting anybody. Even if you have the advantage, it doesn't matter. You want to be moving the whole time. And something I'm really working with is left to right target switches on dummies, right? So obviously he's a little bit farther away. He's a little bit closer. I want to be able to target switch from this dummy to this dummy. And something I'm working on is what I'm doing with my eyes during aim training is the same thing I want to do in the lab working in Apex, right? In the firing range. So right here, to be accurate, I want to be able to move my eyes from this dummy to this dummy before I move my cursor. And that doesn't mean like I'm looking this way while I'm aiming here, but recognizing that in my peripheral vision, there's somebody here that I can flick to you accurately. So that's something I've really been working on a lot from my left to right, and something I do every single day while I'm warming up. And you can do it this way as well, right? You can do it to the left. One thing that I've learned for myself, it is more difficult for me to target switch from the right to the left than the left to the right. So I have to spend a lot of time doing it from the right to the left. And there's one thing I really like to do is the headshot challenge, right? So you know that there's 6 targets up here and a dummy, and we have 9 shots. If I can headshot everything and get them all down in one clip, I know that I'm doing a really, really good job. And I missed the last one, but you can do it in any order too. I like changing the order as much as possible too. Yeah, I missed those last 3, but any order is always really, really good. Not all headshots, but it's something really, really good to practice. And the better you do it, the more comfortable you get with it, the faster you'll be able to do it, the more accurate you'll be. Let me know if you guys learned something. Let me know if you guys take the time to jump into these aim trainers, to jump into the firing range, and let me know if you see any benefits. Share your scenarios. If you're an aim trainer, if you like working on these things, let me know what you guys do down in the comments below. Thank you so much for checking out this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Oh!